Hello, fight fans. Here we are, live, Bareknuckle Uncensored, episode 4. I'm Chris from MMA Uncensored, and this is Lethway Openweight Champion, the King, Dave fucking Leduc.
Good morning, Chris.
Did I just cuss?
I think you did.
Oh, well. Fuck it.
But it's not family friendly. So
No. It's 6 a.m. It's 6 a.m. We're grinding. We're up at 5, changing the baby, drinking coffee. The wife's helped me get set up for this wonderful interview we have here. We're going to talk about.
You're not even tired. You don't even look tired. You're fucking you're a superhero. Holy shit! It's 1 p.m. for me.
We do this all the time, man. No matter what it takes. We're going to be having a guest on, and he's in Australia, which is 16 hours different from me. So we're up, we're doing it, and we're going to have Dan Hangman Hooker on today, and this is very exciting.
Yes, sir. Yeah, Dan is in New Zealand right now, and wanted to catch up. It's fun because we didn't speak. We on social media we talk once in a while, but we didn't speak since we were in Thailand together in Tiger Muay Thai. So basically in 2016. To put people in context, I was hoping to get into Lethway. I was trying to raise my name up, and I got an opportunity to do the tryouts at Tiger. And at the time, I didn't have any money, so I'm like, fuck. They were giving free accommodation, free food. I'm like, fuck it, let's do this. And I'm in Phuket. It's not far from Yangon in Myanmar. So if ever I get a call, I'm not far. I can go fight. So we do it. I win the tryouts. They're not easy. I don't know if you guys saw the documentaries, but actually Jeff, my boy Jeff Sanlas does it, who works with Izzy now. Beautiful things. And it was hard. It was like striking and MMA. So I won the striking scholarship, and Dan won the MMA scholarship. But he was actually the highest profile guy in the trials because he was already in the UFC. Usually the guys are trying to get on a scholarship like this because they want to make it to the big league. But he was just entering already. So but I mean it's such a nice life. You just have to worry about fighting. The apartment was covered, and you get some food. So I don't blame him, and it was great. So we were living in the same complex for like a year, and he was doing his MMA. I was doing my Lethway, and after a while, I think we were the first guy to leave the complex because things were getting good, and we wanted a bigger place. So yeah, so. 2016, yeah, that's when things changed for both of us, and yeah, it was a good year. It was a big year. We actually had all the boys training. Peter Yan, Izzy, Alex Vopsnowski, were basically everybody that from like that years we ended up doing great things. So and actually now I think Yan just lost it, but 3 of them are UFC champions as well. So. It was
Peter Yan, Alex Volkanovski, Israel Adesanya, who fights this weekend, and Jeff, I believe, is with him for the event in Arizona. And Dan.
Jeff was with me, Chris. Did you know Jeff was with me in Wyoming for the last Lethway fight?
Right.
I flew him. Yeah, he was actually having time off with Izzy because he usually lives in New Zealand now. For those who don't know, Jeff Sanlas is the guy that basically built the Tiger Muay Thai brand and the multimedia, and he works with Israel now. He covers all the footage and everything. Did you see the video? They faked the tooth.
Yes.
It's funny, but anyway, he had some time off, so I'm like, fuck, man, where are you? He's like, I'm in US. I'm stateside, and I was fighting in Wyoming against Washington. So I'm like, man. Perfect. Usually I would not able to get him, and he's world class. So we flew him from Vegas. He was covering Dana White's Contender Series.
Yes.
Flew him from Vegas to Wyoming, in Cheyenne, and I think it was the first time he ever came there. And we shot this like Lethway embedded, and it's good shit. Yeah. So and now
I remember that. That was last year. We actually MMA Uncensored worked with Duke Lethway on that promotion when you kicked Cyrus Washington's ass that day. Man, I got off on Instagram, man. You got blood everywhere. I think we have a guest in the queue. If you didn't know, what do you think?
So yeah, let's. I think Dan is in here, so let's get him on.
You want to bring him on?
Let's do this.
There we go.
Hey,
How are we, lads?
how are you, man?
Yeah, good. How are you?
Good. So it's 10 p.m. You finished your day today. What did you had a big day?
Yeah, same as usual. Training in the morning, hanging out around the gym, pretty much, chatting shit with the boys, and then back in tonight for a little bit of pad work. And now, yeah, day's done. It's the evening. I know it's the morning over there,
Yeah.
but no, I'm done for the day.
Amazing. So what's the normal day for you now? Like I saw you was it you playing in the woods in the waterfall? Was that you? Was your boys?
Yeah. No, that's me. We were jumping around. Yeah, I had an awesome weekend just in the past weekend. So Hastings, it's just down the line in New Zealand. So New Zealand has just some, incredible backcountry, and it's just a friend of mine opened up a gym down in a different part of the country. So it was exciting for me to go down there and open the gym with him, or open the gym for him. We had a lot of, traditional Māori, which is the native people in New Zealand. A lot of, they have a lot of special cultural procedures. So we just ran through them, and it was just an awesome weekend.
Amazing. Are you in Auckland right now?
Yeah, I'm in Auckland. I'm born and bred in Auckland, which is not the capital, but probably the biggest city, in New Zealand.
You talk about Maori. Can you do the mana? How do you call it? It's fucking. I have goosebumps every time I see this shit, man. It's insane. How do you call the dance, the traditional dance?
But it's called the haka. So there's like many different kinds. The one that you see the All Blacks do is called kamati. It's like a real traditional one that everyone in New Zealand pretty much knows the words and actions to that one. But yeah, it's the haka, and it's a traditional war dance. So before they used to go in a battle, they would perform a haka to their enemies and just get them try to instill a little bit of fear into them before they went out to battle.
Fuck, it's fucking. You see all the boys doing this in the front line in the war trenches. You're like, okay, it's not gonna be easy. And actually it's similar to the Burmese were doing. It's like let's fucking fight. It's not as long, but it's funny how different culture have similar traditions, right?
Yeah, oh man, the Māori, in terms of battle, they're just their traditions and their wits in battle were incredible. So when the the British or English first came over and started taking land and invading New Zealand pretty much, and taking land, and they came over with guns and cannons, and Māori had none of the such. They have different wooden weapons. They got like a patu, which is like a short, heavy club, and then a taiaha, which is a lot more like a longer spear kind of thing. So, but they had like wooden weapons. So the Māori actually invented trench warfare. So they invented it. The English came over and would bomb them with cannons, and they were like, "Man, we need to figure a way around this. This is." We can't go toe to toe with them. So they dug trenches into the ground. The English would bomb them and then think, oh yeah, everyone's gone now. We've been bombing them for a day or two, which would charge over with their muskets, and then they would hide in the trenches until they came close enough for close quarter combat. So yeah, it was that was before the World War I and World War II. So the English learnt from them invading New Zealand was they took that into World War, and now it's like a staple in pretty much warfare globally around the world is trench war. Everyone knows trench warfare, but it was invented by the natives in New Zealand.
Wow, I love history. I'm gonna have to read more about this. It's fucking I love this. So good. So your parents, Dan, and I never asked you this. Are you're born and bred in New Zealand, but your parents, are they from there too?
Yep, my parents are both from New Zealand. I got some Māori on my dad's side, but yeah, just pretty much a Kiwi through and through.
A real Kiwi, amazing. Chris, you wanted to ask the questions about what's happening, and I know we have a lot of we need to have your input, Dan.
I thought we were going right to the bare knuckle. He was talking about trench warfare and
true. Well, I actually go ahead.
Yeah, we'll just ask a couple of my questions, and I'm gonna let you and your old friend catch for the rest of the
Chris,
show.
listen to this. Did you know that Dan before going that was before MMA, right, Dan? That was before you were fighting pro, the Pride Rules fight.
Yeah, so I was fighting pro. Yeah, it was not too long before I got into the UFC. That probably would have been one of my last fights, probably my second to last fight before getting in the UFC. I just knew that the way that things were going, that with
that was the last time you could do
it. yeah, just a last hurrah, pretty much. Like I knew that the way that the sport is getting regulated now, and it's mainstream, and it's in so many eyes, that it was kind of the last opportunity to get out there and fight like a no weight limit, no Pride Rules style in New Zealand. I don't think you could even get away with it today. So I just had it's one of those things that I had to get done.
So you fought for people watching. Dan fought a heavier opponent, heavyweight. And can I say that you won with a soccer kick? That's fucking badass. I love. So Pride Rules soccer kick. I saw the footage years ago, bro. When we were at Tiger together, I saw it pass on my newsfeed, and I was like, "Holy shit!" That looked like an underground fight with a soccer kick in it. Love it. That's the kind of stuff we want to talk about here on Bareknuckle Uncensored.
So the way it went down was I wasn't even supposed to fight. Like, that wasn't my fight. I'd fought in China 2 weeks before that at featherweight. So 2 weeks before that, I fought at 66 kilos. Insane. Or 65.8 kilos is what I made. And I fought in
145, right?
Yeah, 145 in Macau in China there. And I came back anyway. I just got back into training. And I remember my coach storming out from out back, and he was just like he was pretty upset. And he's just one of the guys from our gym who was supposed to fight in the main event of the show at heavyweight. Our gym was putting on a show that weekend, and he had to pull out because he had one of our guys, our heavyweight boy, had broken his hand, so he couldn't fight. And so my coach came out, and he's steaming, and he's real upset. And he's like, yeah, no, main event's off. And I said, oh, well, what does he weigh? And he said, about 120, 130 kilos. So I don't know. That's like 270 pounds. And I was like 180 pounds at the time. Shit. Like I packed on a little bit of weight over the 2 weeks since I fought at featherweight. And I said, yeah, I'll take the fight then. I'll take the fight. So they passed it with the other team. They were keen. They were game. So yeah, I took that. Yeah, I not only did it, but I took that fight on 3 days. I think it was 3 days notice that fight came together on the Wednesday. Fought him on the Saturday night. So we call it Kiwi Pride. So it's Pride Rules, but elbows. We couldn't miss out the old elbows.
How did it end? He was on the floor. Yeah, you.
Oh, good fight. It's a good fight. I'll have to chuck the footage up somewhere, but it's one of my favorite fights I've ever had. I fought this guy Mark Creedy, and definitely no slouch. He's fought for the New Zealand heavyweight MMA title twice. He's only just fallen short. So he was one of the top heavyweights in the country at the time. It's not like I just fought a guy that was. I don't want to just fight a guy bigger than me just for the sake of it. He's one of the best heavyweight fighters in the country in New Zealand. So, man, that's what excited me the most, that I wanted to get out there. But yeah, we had a 10-minute first round, back and forth, and I remember I took him down with a single leg, and then I got in turtle. I was getting some ground and pound off, and then I went to take his back. So I went to had one hook in. And I went around to throw my other hook in, but he was so wide, he was so big, that my hooks didn't go in, and he was just able to shrug. Wow. And as he shrugged, I flipped around, and he got on top of me, and the last probably the last 2 minutes of the first round, he's just on top of me, like ground and pounding me and stuff.
Yeah.
And then, man, we were both busted up at the end of the third, end of that first 10-minute round. And so we come into the second round, and they're the same thing. Like, we're going to war for a few minutes, and then I get him with that same single leg takedown and turtle again, landing a few strikes. And I remember, well, I'm not going to try to put my hooks in this time because he's too big. I can't. There's no way I can take his back. He's too big. So I came all the way around. And as he's in turtle, he just peeks up and like looks at me, and I just loaded a soccer kick, just booted him like square in the eye. He was like rocked, but outstanding. He still stood up, and I was just like, "What have I got to hit this guy with to get him out of here?" But he stood up, and I just unloaded, and then waved it off. Ref stopped it, but yeah, that has to be one of my favorite fights of all time.
Dan, that's probably the last time you're gonna be able to fight Pride rules like this. Like you're in the biggest organization in the world, and also that was fucking bucket list material right there.
That was
bucket
awesome.
Bucket list.
I envision Shogun Hua back in Pride kick knocking the guy out. That's what I envisioned there.
Wow.
Yeah. I thought soccer kicks would be the most effective, but I kicked him in the head, and he still stood. I kicked him in the head with 100% soccer kick, and he still stood up, and I busted my foot. So I was like, man, these aren't as effective as I thought they were.
No kidding.
Oh, hats off to your opponent, man. Like, is it Mark? You said what's his name?
Yeah. Mark Creedy. Like outstanding fight. It was. Yeah, like credit to him for taking the fight back then, and just a war. One of my favorite fights.
And you're ballsy, man. Like almost 100 pounds difference. Fucking, I love it.
That's awesome. I'll get into the questions I have for him, then you guys continue with Bareknuckle. I just have a couple questions about the upcoming card this weekend. You got Diaz versus Leon Edwards. What do you take on that fight?
Oh, that's a pretty that's a crazy fight for me. Leon Edwards has probably got one of the best streaks in the UFC at the moment, and just the way he's been going, and he's how well-rounded he is. I'm gonna find it hard for Diaz to find a way to kind of win in that fight. I'm definitely leaning more towards Leon Edwards.
Yeah, I would say so too, especially after the Jorge Masvidal fight. You're thinking to yourself, how many shots can Nate take in the face? They'll stop the fight with all the scar tissue.
Yeah, unfortunately, scar tissue cuts pretty fast.
We were talking the other day. You don't have much scar tissue, do you, King?
We try to be evasive. Dan as well avoids damage, a longer career, and sexier face.
Absolutely. Well, one other question for you. The upcoming fight between McGregor and Porter 3 at UFC 264 in July. Do you think McGregor will make the correct adjustments and take the win in the trilogy?
I would just say it's hard to make the adjustments he needs to make in such a short space of time. Like that's such a that's the same night that I fought. He was knocked out, but he was knocked out. On his back, he was like knocked out unconscious. Like I went down. I was I got clipped by Chandler. I went down. I was conscious the whole time. I never lost consciousness, which I think is like a big thing when it comes to knockouts. Just the way McGregor went down back and he lost consciousness. He would have had to take a couple of months off. So you take those couple of months off sparring. You take all the hard training, the hard contact stuff. And then you're jumping straight back into camp. Pretty much training camp is getting in shape and getting fight fit. So there's not a lot of time there to make those adjustments that you're talking about. Maybe it would have been good for him to, have one fight or two fights, or even just a little bit more time to make those adjustments he needs to make. I just don't feel like there's enough time for those adjustments to be made. I can't see, the result being that different.
Right. And I agree with you. Dusted him a couple times and he was up against the fence and then he hit him again. So he was definitely out for a little while. The last thing I have for you, Dan, you fought Jason Knight back in 2016.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I did some research on Dan. I
You fought Bareknuckle, Jason.
believe
You fought Bareknuckle.
Right,
yeah.
right. So we're gonna go into the. It was 2016. You fought Jason Knight. He's now fighting for Jorge Masvidal's new Bareknuckle MMA promotion. They debut this month in Biloxi, Mississippi, here in the States. Tell me what you think about Bareknuckle with mixed martial arts rules. How do you think that work?
We know that Dan would jump on it. That's for sure. He's not afraid of that.
I'm excited. I've been waiting for it. Once the kind of bare knuckle scene caught fire. Not only in the UK where it's always had a strong, it's always had a stronghold in the UK, but to see it break into that American market, the bare knuckle scene, it's been exciting. I think it's it adds that extra element. It's old school. It's something exciting. So bare knuckle MMA is something that excites me a lot, and I'm very interested to see how that fight. He's fighting Crazy Horse. That's an old friend of mine too. Yeah. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see how Crazy Horse and that Jason Knight fights. I definitely 100% will be tuning in.
That'll be on the Bareknuckle app, Bareknuckle TV app. And that'll be next Friday or Saturday next weekend. Looks like it's going to be a fun event. Back to you, Dave.
Man, I would like to see this. We should get George on the podcast and see if we can legalize headbutts in the guard, like Vale Tudo style. That would be that would be like the epitome of strike of fighting itself. Like, because I always say, Vale Tudo itself. Early days UFC was the real fucking. No fish hooks, no all these things, but like headbutts, no gloves. That was cool. Even when I was with Joe, he was like, "Man, I would love to see headbutts back in the game." But like Dan said, everything is regulated now, and there's a package on TV. There's a package that they have to respect. The Nevada State Commission, all these things. I really doubt that we're gonna see any modification, right, Dan?
Yeah. Oh man, 100%. I feel like just the way the sport's going, and now we're all wearing uniforms, and it's getting a bit more professional. I'm a purist. The more pure form of fighting that we can kind of create, the better. I've been in I remember back in I fought an Australian guy, Rob Lacidi. He came over for me in New Zealand, and he was able to get on. He was like a ground and pound specialist. He was able to get on top, and I had him in the guard, and I was throwing up submissions. And I just remember this moment in the fight where he's on top of me and I'm on the bottom, and he had bicep control on both of my arms, and he kind of pushed it up, and we both looked each other in the eye, and I knew that he wanted to headbutt me, and I thought for a second, well, he's not going to do it, so I carried on anyway. We finished the fight, and I remember asking him at the after party, I was like, "Were you going to headbutt me?" And he's like, "I was definitely thinking about it." I was like, "Well, I'm glad they're not legal, because that would have definitely changed the course of the fight." But that's something else that I would definitely be keen on ticking off the bucket list.
Who was the guy? What did you say?
Headbutts on the ground. If you're in a mount, instead of doing shoulders or elbows, you're just going for the head. You're trying to bust the nose, bust the face.
Who was the guy? You guys know the guy that was? Is it Randleman? I know Mark Coleman is a friend of mine as well. But who else was a nasty guy in the UFC for headbutts or Pride Rules?
Randleman, Mark Coleman, Coleman, Kerr.
Yes,
exactly. Mark Kerr. That's it. Yeah, he was. He loved it.
Yeah, Coleman is really loving the Lithuanian scene right now. He's always commenting, and I think he was one of those guys. Kerr, Coleman, and Reynolds were the OGs for that. And yeah, he's still in shape, man. They're still in shape. He's still able. Like, I wouldn't fuck with these guys, and they're. I saw a video you posted. I think Chris. I think Coleman was. I think he pushed Joe and
Joe Rogan was going at it. Yeah,
it's funny. Yeah.
They're from that generation where they fight for the adrenaline, they fight for the excitement, they fight for the challenge and the thrill of it. They don't fight back then. They didn't fight for the money. You know, when I started, I didn't. You know, money was never. I never thought it would be a possibility to make the kind of money I've made off of fighting. You know, and that's that throwback old school generation. They fought just for the thrill of it. If someone says, "Oh, you want to have a MMA fight? You know, no elbows, this," and they're just like, "Yeah, whatever." But if you tell them, "Oh, you're gonna fight 3 guys in the same night," there's headbutts, and then like it gets the adrenaline flowing, and that gets them excited, and it makes them want to do it. So it's that throwback to the old school. So you can't take that out of a guy. You can't take that out of Mark Coleman. You can't take that out of these old school guys. If you get their adrenaline flowing and you stand in front of him, he's gonna try and take your head off, and there's 100% guarantee that.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right, Dan, about back in the days. My coach, you know, I think early days was like $100 per fight. Like, how do you make a living off of this? So they had to find, you know, build a business, do something else. Back then, it was a leap of faith, you know, and not the same purse for sure.
What was your purse back in the day, Dan, for your first fight?
For my first fight, nothing. That was my purse for my first fight was nothing. I was like, I've been training for like 6 months MMA. I walked in the gym and I was just training with a coach there for about 6 months. And then he'd booked me in for an amateur fight. Like, so I had an amateur fight with supposed to be shin pads or whatever. And then he came to me like 2 weeks before another fight, and he's like, "Oh, do you want to fight Pride? Oh, do you want to fight Pro Rules in 2 weeks?" And I was like, "Yeah." Like, what's pro? And he's like, "Oh, it just means no shin pads." And I was like, "Yeah, I don't want to fight with shin pads anyway." And then they're like, "Oh, so when's the event? Like, when they're getting all the details for the event?" And I was like, "Oh," so I thought it was like I'd heard about jiu-jitsu competition. I hadn't even done a jiu-jitsu competition, but I thought it was like that. I thought there'd be an entry fee. So I was like, "How much is the entry fee?" And he's like, "No." He goes, "No, there's no entry fee." And I was like, "What? It's going to be free. I could just do it for free." And he's like, "Yeah, it's not going to cost you anything."
That's
so
funny.
I thought I had to pay an entry fee for my first fight.
You had to pay to go fight?
Yeah, I was just excited I didn't have to pay an entry fee. So I didn't ask any questions about a purse or anything like that. That never even crossed my mind.
You probably had a purse, but then you asked that question. He's like, "Oh, I'll keep it."
Real quick, you were talking about your coach back in your amateur days. Right now, is your coach still Eugene Behrman, the same coach? Is he?
So that's my coach now. So that's my coach. That's like my full-time coach since I moved back to New Zealand after Thailand. So that'll be after 2016, since I was in Thailand, and then I moved back to New Zealand and kind of dedicated myself to city kickboxing full time. But now my first coach was a guy named John Olsen. He's from Denmark, and he's one of Martin Kampmann's students. So he'd been, over to the US, and then he fell in love with a girl from New Zealand. So that kind of dragged him all the way over here. So I was lucky enough, to run into a real well-rounded, world-class MMA coach as my first coach. So not a lot of people get that opportunity. And to be honest, it was just blind luck that I ran into him, and he just beat me up really bad. And I was just like, well, I need to learn how to do this to other people. So I stuck with him. So I credit, a lot of my success to my first coach, John Olsen, who I, followed for the first couple of years of my career until he made the decision to become a police officer. So, you have to go away for 3 or 4 months for the first training camp, and then it takes a lot of dedication to do that. So I trained with him up until then, and then when he went up to the police force, then I went and had to find myself another gym.
Okay. Did you get to train with Izzy on this camp, Dan?
Yeah, no, I was in all camp with Israel for this fight. He's looking sharp. He's looking on. I definitely don't feel like it's gonna be a similar fight to the last one. I think he's. I can only really speak for myself, and like what I saw from that first fight against Vettori. But man, I remember I was out back. I saw Vettori because me and Vettori fought on the same card when I fought Gilbert Burns in Las Vegas. And so yeah, I fought Gilbert Burns, and then I can't remember who Vettori fought, but we were like out back as a team. We just finished our session, and then Vettori was like hitting pads with Benil Dariush was holding pads for him, and he just looked terrible. He just looked so slow. He just looked like a slug. And we were just like, man, this guy sucks. Like, and then Israel got booked with him like a couple of months or like a month after that. And I was like, I think I can only speak for myself. Like my coach was there, he's seen it, but I can only speak for myself. I was like, man, Israel's going to kill this guy. This guy is like one of the slowest humans on the planet. But I don't know whether he just had like the worst weight cut or he like shifts big weight. It was only like a couple of days before the fight. I don't know whether he loses like a lot of weight, but man, does he look like a slug that close. But he obviously fought a ton better than he looked before that. Like the guy out in the cage was a completely different animal than what we'd seen. So I took him lightly. I can't say Israel did. I can't say my coaching team took him lightly. I can say I from the outside, as an observer, took him lightly.
Do you see anything Izzy can take from the Jan Blachowicz loss into this fight?
Yeah, I feel like opponents are gonna see what Jan did and just be like, man, the composure that Jan had to not shoot until that late in the fight is something that's very difficult. He didn't go for the takedown until the fourth round, which is like that takes a lot of composure to kind of hold that off. You come out and you try to shoot on Izzy early. He's like a cat, man. You can't put him on his back. Like he just you think you've got it, and he'll just get a leg out and post out and be able to land on his feet, like a cat. So it's pretty crazy that Jan was able to wait for the full 15 minutes before he decided to attempt a takedown, which is the composure that I don't think Vettori has.
And confidence too, to stand up with Izzy. Also, he had the confidence as well. So yeah.
Yeah, and I just don't feel like Jan is. I feel like he's an incredible fighter. I feel like that was like a huge challenge or a huge test to go out there and test himself against the best light heavyweight, one of the best light heavyweights in the world. Like that's just the kind of guy he is. He likes to go out there and push himself and test himself and fight the best guys that are out there.
And he put his undefeated UFC MMA record on the line too. I mean, big props to Izzy.
Oh my God, yeah. Not a lot of people would do this.
And he doesn't care. Honestly, and he doesn't care. Like that like undefeated, the streak and all that, like it means absolutely nothing to him. Like he honestly, he couldn't care less that fight didn't go his way. If you offered him a rematch against Jan Blachowicz tomorrow, he would take it the day after. Like he would, if they switched Vettori with Blachowicz for Saturday, he would do it 100%. Like he's just that kind of guy.
That makes sense. It's frozen up. Am I freezing?
It's good. I was just waiting for you to bring up some more.
I thought it was freezing. No, I was thinking at the same time, Dan. What brought you to Phuket back in the days? What was the thought? Because did you know the boys, the coaches there?
Yeah, I knew I knew the coaches. So before that, I was training at Team Elevation there in Denver.
Oh, really?
I'd gone through the States, and I actually stayed at Neil Magny let me stay at his house, and I was training with the Team Elevation guys, so I got to see Corey Sandhagen sparring TJ Dillashaw. I remember Corey Sandhagen was like maybe 2-0, like 3-0 at the time, like not in the UFC. He was just kind of building his pro record up, and you could tell he was something special all the way back then. Like even at 2-0, 3-0, like you could tell that kid was going to do something special. So I'm not like surprised at all that he's put himself in, title contention in the bantamweight division for the UFC now. But yeah, I trained there. And then after there, I went to Tiger, and I went to do the tryout. So why I did the tryout was,
that's how we met. That's the first time we met as well. Yeah. And
yeah,
you were just
2015 or 2016. I actually, the reason why I did the tryout. So the reason why I did it was that I had applied years before that. So Kai Kara-France, who's one of my training partners, who won the scholarship, he applied. Man, I can't even remember, like 2011, 2012. He applied, I applied, and we thought we were both going to go over. Kai got accepted, and I didn't get accepted. So I didn't get accepted. So Kai went over. Kai did the scholarship, did the tryout. He won the tryout or whatever. And then years later, I went to Elevation, and then I applied for the tryout for 2015. And I was like, man, 2016. And I applied for the 2016, the second time around. And I applied. And I know George Hickman. I know the head coaches. I know all those guys. And they came back to me and they were like, Dan, you don't need to do the tryout. Like, we'll just give you a scholarship. You're already a UFC fighter. We'll just give you the house and the food and the training and like that. We'll just cover it. And I said, nah, that's not how this works. It's the principle. It's a principle. I said, I can't apply 1 year and not be good enough, and then apply years later and be too good. I said, this is not how this works. I said, I'm going to do the tryout. I'm going to prove it. I'm going to prove my spot. I'm going to earn my spot. And I'm going to show everyone that you should have picked me the first damn time. So I did it, and I did it, and I loved it. I loved that tryout process.
It's not easy for people watching at home, guys. It's not an easy process. It's fucking not a lot of sleep. You're sore everywhere, and Witty killing us and all those beach workouts and all the fucking Witty's actually on the show now with Alex, right?
Yeah. So there's a few other guys. Yeah, old Frankie, and everyone's
Frankie,
there's a lot of Phuket guys over there on the show there. So it's going to be an incredible one to watch.
Chris, if you don't know, we're talking about the boys, the coaching staff at Tiger Muay Thai, and they're on the Ultimate Fighter right now, the Ultimate Fighter show.
The one with Volkanovski and Ortega.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I got a fan question for you. This is an interesting one. Dave, 6'2", 170. Does that sound about right?
Me?
6'2", 6'2", 170-ish?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 175.
6 foot 155, 170, right around the same size. Well, how would you guys?
Right.
How would you guys match up?
Fan
question.
We don't want to know. It would be a bloodbath. We don't want to know. That's not a fan question. That's all you motherfucker. The best answer to these questions I was given by my Sifu Pat. Shout out to him as well. Basically, he was opening a gym back in the days in Canada, and his brother-in-law is also a Sifu, and great, like just guys and just tough motherfuckers. And they were opening a gym together, and he's like, one of the students asked him, so Sifu, what would happen if basically there are two coaches in the gyms, like what would happen if you guys would fight? And I love his answers, like, yeah, we don't want to know. It would be ugly, and we don't want to know. I like that. It's like, it's stupid to think about these things, and we know that Dan is not afraid to fight heavy. So 10 pounds, 20 pounds is not hard at all. But now we fucking it would be a bloodbath for sure, and it would be we're friends. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I predict a very sore head. That's all I predict.
It depends if I can do small strikes as well. And it changes the game in the clinching as well. But definitely Dan has a way better, well-rounded in the takedown and takedown defense and all these things. Me, I'm actually just training my ground right now and my striking. I need to perfect my wrestling, the in between, the in between game. But definitely striking. I don't think we ever put gloves together, Dan. But it would be. I think it would be fun. It would be tricky because you're a tricky motherfucker. How to make it uncomfortable, Chris? Like we're boys. We don't want to talk about this.
When we started,
I get asked all the time because one of my teammates is Brad Riddell. He's coming up in the rankings in the lightweight division as well.
Okay.
Yeah, Dave, you know Brad as well. He was teaching K1 over at Tiger Muay Thai.
For those who don't know Brad, he's a very skilled striker.
Yeah, man, we get asked all the time, like, oh, what if you guys fought? And it's like, man, do you know how many thousands of people there are in the world to fight? And I gotta fight like my friend, I gotta fight my teammate. It's like, man.
No, especially not that brotherhood like this. There's some like acquaintance that doesn't matter, but like a brotherhood like this.
Yeah.
I would personally waive. I wouldn't. I have other friends that I grew up with them and I train with them. Like I wouldn't do it. It just doesn't make sense to lose that for what for money. Like money is not everything in life.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're. I don't know. But yeah, I'll ask it then. Like, what happens if you're both contenders? At one point, and it's the fight to make. What do you do? Fuck. What do you guys?
I just don't think it would ever happen. I just don't think our coaches would a fighter is gonna fight. That's at the end of the day. Like when you put them in that situation, but it's something that our team would never let happen. We got such a close-knit team here in New Zealand that is just, I would say it's just a non-possibility.
Exactly.
Would you ever considered bare knuckle fighting championship, bare knuckle after the UFC, Dan?
100%. That's 100%. I'll call that the Dan Hooker retirement fund. Is the bare that's what I consider retirement. When you see me there doing bare knuckle, there's some people that just love to fight. There's some people that can't put this damn thing down if you make them. And bare knuckle that's a new challenge. That's a fresh challenge, and it's because it's just punching. Obviously, it's a difficult sport, but definitely the training would not be as rigorous as or not as taxing on the body as doing all the grueling wrestling sessions and getting kicked in the head and doing all that kind of stuff. So I would definitely the training would be easier on the body. Definitely not the fighting would be easier on the body.
Exactly.
but the training and because fighting to me is easy. Fighting to me is one of the most natural things I could possibly do in the world. I feel so comfortable, and the decision to go out and fight is not. That's a very easy decision for me. It's the training that's hard. It's pushing yourself and training. It's doing the wrestling and jiu-jitsu and all those different things. So to really simplify it, I feel like the bare knuckle is something that's on the bucket list. And you know how I love to tick things off my bucket list.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if it's how far is it in the discussions, but there was discussions of we had Dave Feldman last week, and he basically said that he's in discussion, open to buying the Letway League from Myanmar. So I'm like, man, imagine if they would have like both styles on. That would be sick, and it would really give a boost to Letway in North America like this. So I'm in Turkey right now, so inshallah, let's see what you know. But I was gonna say, yeah, you know, everybody, you know, we do interviews all the time, and sometimes it's similar questions. But I have to ask because for me, I'm do a lot of retrospective in my life, and I'm like, maybe I don't know if you've ever been asked that question. Do you know what brought you maybe in your childhood? Because everything comes from childhood, right? Like for me, I got kicked out of the house when I was young, and I had a lot of anger, and I was told that I was skinny, and I wanted to show that I'm strong. You know, we're both we don't have like the bodybuilder look, you know. And I was told like you're weak because you're skinny, and I'm like, well, yeah, I'll show you that I can fight guys that are, you know, bigger than me. Do you know what makes you want to fight?
I don't put it down to any one thing. I've always had a chip on my shoulder, and I guess when you're younger, like in your teenagers, you try to pin it to something. You're trying to be like, man, this is the reason I've got a chip on my shoulder. This is the reason why I got a chip on my shoulder. But for me, I just think I just got a natural chip on my shoulder. I just got something inside of me where I just have a point to prove about the whole thing. And it was, you know, like you get in fights growing up in that, but I would say that I, you know, didn't get in any more fights than anyone else I was growing up with. I think it was just like, you know, the culture here in New Zealand is like a pretty like masculine culture. Like everyone gets in a fights growing up. When you're over here, like Auckland especially is a pretty hostile city for a young man. You know, going out, it's just a hostile city, and everyone kind of gets in their little fights and that. But it was the first time. So what got me into MMA really was I went and watched, you know, older friend of ours, Steve Warby, and he was fighting his first like amateur fight here in New Zealand.
Okay.
And I remember it was the first fight show I ever went to as an 18-year-old. And I went there and I sat down and everything, and I didn't know what to expect. And my friend came out and he was fighting another guy. The other guy was like physically imposing, like big muscles and that. And my friend, he knocked him out in like 10 or 20 seconds. He just hit him with like a right hand. The guy goes down. And I just felt the crowd. I felt the crowd like erupt. And I looked around, and there was like all the friends I was with, they all jumping up, and just the excitement on all of their faces. And I just felt that energy of the crowd, and I was just like, I want this. I don't want, so when I followed him to the gym that following Monday, and I was just like, pretty much in my head, I'm thinking, how do I recreate that? How do I knock someone's head off and make my friends, make my family, make everyone I know like that excited about something? So, you know, I didn't walk into a gym being like, yeah, I want to improve, get some self-defense, or I would like to, you know, learn some martial arts. I was like, how do I knock someone's head off and make people excited? So I was like, I guess that's what progressed me so quick, was that my intention was always to fight, and it was always to put on like exciting shows and do like outstanding stuff. And I've just been lucky enough to fulfill that. You know, I've been lucky enough to have some incredible knockouts and some incredible fights, and fill my friends and family with moments like that they'll carry forever. Because at the end of the day, when you look back on the sport and what you've done and what you've accomplished, it's those moments that people will never forget.
Wow. You've won 30 MMA fights in your career. I was going over it, so you have a lot to be proud of, Dan. 30 MMA wins.
Yeah.
Bro.
Was it the first time, Dan, that when you saw that fight, you never trained before? When you saw that big knockout, you never trained before?
No, I never like, not officially. Like, you get it with your mates and you have some gloves in the backyard and you punch each other by. I'd never done any official training. I seen that fight and I was just like, I need to go to the gym. So I nagged him. I was like, take me to the gym.
Okay, I'm asking a question. So I'm like the philosopher now in my life. So I'm like, okay, so I really relate to what you're saying, and it's such a beautiful. It's so cool that you said that, because like that's like that's a motivation. Were you like the popular kid back in your childhood, or you were more like lay low? How was it like? Because I so relate to what you said. Like when I saw these, I'm like, man, I want this too. Because I was like not bullied, but I was I was not like popular as a kid. So maybe it was the same thing for you. I don't know. I'm just brainstorming.
I had like I'm lucky that I have some people that I connected with like very early. I've known people for 10 years and I don't consider them like really great friends, because I have some outstanding friends that I met very early on in my life. I've got friends that I've known since I was 4 years old. I got friends that I met on the first day of school at 5 years old that I'm still best friends with today, 6 years old. I've had friends for 25 years, and I've had friends for 27 years, 28 years, and I'm 31 years old. So that's like pretty incredible. So I've always had just a handful of people that I trust and that I trust with my life, so that's like kind of what it comes down to. And I've always been, quality over quantity. So I never had that inclination to, people would just make as many friends as they could just to become popular, or they kind of crave that attention, or they crave that friendship of a lot of people. It's something that I never craved. I just craved that that closeness and that trust and that friendship that's not going to go anywhere is something that I always found far more important than having hundreds of friends.
And by the way, it's very hard to not like Dan. He's very, very likable. Like I haven't met anybody that is like, I don't like him. Like you're very like you have, and a compliment to you, man. You're a very good guy, and it's always pleasant to talk to you. It's always a pleasure, man. And man, yeah, for sure. Unlike sometimes me, but yeah, I was gonna say. I forgot what I was gonna say. Yeah, because I like to dissect these things, because we're just like a brain and a body. I'm like, what pushes us to do this? Because but it's fucking fun. I think you just answered that. Like, man, I just like it. I just want to give a good show, and I think it's pretty simple. It's not. We shouldn't complicate it too much. It's very. You wanted to give a good show, and you fucking did it, man. And my hat's off to you, man. You made it to the fucking top, and it's not over. It's not over.
Yeah. Thank you, brother. So I hit the UFC up. I tried to get on this card this weekend. So I actually hit the UFC up, and I said, man, I'll fight anyone on this card in June. And they come back to me and said, oh, we can't find anyone that's ranked and not injured or not booked. So I was a bit gutted about that. But when the Ortega and Volkanovski fight, I believe Dana White announced that as September 4th. I said, man, I'll fight in that September 4th card, just because I've got a couple of teammates from back in New Zealand going over and fighting over on that card as well. And it's just the kind of way that we have to move things coming from New Zealand at this time with the quarantine process, and it gets all crazy, because my whole coaching staff is over there with Israel and Brad at the moment. So it's not like they can just come back and go again. They got to come back and wait. And, these guys are all they're all family men. They've all got kids, and they've all got, jobs and things they need to look after and get in order. So that's time when they can go again. So September 4th, I don't care who it is, but I'm getting in that cage and I'm letting them fly.
September 4th, UFC 265, I believe it's going to be Volkanovski versus Ortega. How do you see that fight going down?
Man, once you train with Volkanovski, you realize like how much of a beast that guy is, how much of a weapon he is. I feel like that's the perfect fight for him, because he had to be like a bit more restrained in the Max Holloway fight. Like Max sets a lot of traps, and Max he does very well in a high paced fight. you know, when someone's pressuring him is kind of when he does his best. So Volkanovski had to make the adjustment. Volkanovski had to back off a little bit and be a bit more tactical. But I feel like Ortega's the kind of guy that he can get in the face of and he can really charge at and pressure. And that's when you see him do his best. Like he's got probably one of the best gas tanks in the UFC, regardless of weight class. Like once he gets in your face, the guy just doesn't get out of the damn thing. So I'm excited, but I can't see how Ortega gets the job done in that one.
There you go. You got anything else from Dan before we go?
No, I wanted to say, yeah, because it's the first time we catch up since we left in 2016, both of us. So it was cool to talk to you, man. And because you spoke about it earlier, you said, yeah, you know, it was never about money, all these things, and it's true, man. I remember, man, I'm very grateful for the opportunity that Tiger gave us early on, at least for me. I didn't have anything, and but I remember I had like a black hole in the toilet from the humidity of the AC. And every time I was sitting on the toilet, I was looking at that hole, and like the black was leaking. I'm like, fuck, man, I can't wait to make money and just, you know, get a house and all these. But we have to go through these things, and you know, you touched it, you said it perfectly. We have to go through these things, you know.
Yeah, I think I'm just a tight ass as well. Really, like I still drive an old piece of shit car, and my missus tells me that I can afford to buy a nice car, and I should be spending all this money, but it's just not something that I'm interested in. I crave experience. That's something that I enjoy. It's always been in my heart. I don't crave flashy things. That's not why I'm in this. So
you don't like Izzy's car? You don't like Izzy's car?
Oh, hats off to him. Like if he wants, but it's it's not my style. I like something that I can hack around in. If someone bumps into me, I'm not going to get upset about it. That's it's a bit more my style. But nah, I've been watching you, Dave.
What car are you driving?
Me, I drive a Ford Falcon. I drive a V8 Ford Falcon 2000.
I'm not a car guy either.
Ford Falcon, yeah, okay.
2000.
It doesn't matter.
2001.
2001.
Man, I respect the shit out of that, man. I respect the shit out of that.
It's got a 1.5 star safety rating. They got safety rate cars in New Zealand. Well, we got the 1.5 stars going.
Bro,
4-ton car with a big V8. Anything hits you, you're good, Dan.
But,
yeah, I'm good. Well, does good donuts.
So that's so. If you like experience, bro, a couple questions. Did you ever do bungee?
Bungee, yet to take it off the list. Yet to take it off the list here in New Zealand.
Skydiving.
I would definitely do skydiving. There's two things that I would definitely jump on. I'm saving a lot of. Those are kind of things here in New Zealand I can do after my fight career. I gotta keep some things that keep some entertainment going. Old man Dan will drive himself crazy if he doesn't have any more adrenaline in his life.
I agree. Because bungee, man, I was actually thinking about going to New Zealand just for that. There's like one of the biggest in the world. I'm going there. So if I come, I'm gonna go see you. Yeah,
that's us, man. We'll take it off the list together. That'll be great.
So let's do this. And you know what? If we have to kick Sparta style. We have to kick each other Sparta style to
just to add difficulty to the task. Yeah, I'm in. Okay, you got me.
All right. Well, yeah, man, it was so cool to talk to you, man. And I wish you good luck in September. You're gonna smash it and keep killing it, man.
Thank you very much, brother. It's been good catching up with you, and you've been doing incredible, man. I've been watching it, and you're keeping me entertained, brother. You're doing some incredible work. Thank you.
Thank you, bro. Means a lot. Chris,
guys.
Take care, Dan. Take care. Look forward to seeing you in your next fight, sir.
Thank you very much. Catch you guys later.
All right.
Great. Great, man. That guy is top notch.
Great human being.
How do you not like him?
No, you can't, and he's authentic, you know. Like, and I respect the shit out of about you know, the materialistic philosophy, because in life, you know, you don't bring these things when you're dead. You know, it could be, some people enjoy it, and that's fine, and you know, they can do it if they want. But I drove McLarens, I drove Lamborghini when I was living in Dubai, and you know, at the end of the day, it's not what floats my boat, because I realized that it actually leads to potentially unhappiness. Hear my thought, Chris, if you agree. Because if you do this,
the alcohol and stripper thing,
man, it's Bareknuckle uncensored / philosophy. But listen to me. If you value these things too much, or you just like, then you go at a stop sign or a red light, and you see another guy, especially like it hits you more in Dubai, right? You look, oh shit, there's another guy with I know I drive a $200,000 car, but then this guy rides a $500,000 car. Okay, and you're like, fuck, there's always going to be somebody with more money than you, you know, and then you're basically in a circle of unhappiness. You're never content, and content, you should be able to the goal, the mental discipline is to be content with almost nothing. Because look at that. Now you have the guy, you know, I was driving a McLaren, you know, worth X amount of money. Then next door there's a guy with a Rolls Royce with $500,000 car worth more. And then next to him, there's another guy even more. Look at that. In Dubai, you can buy a plate, and the plate is actually worth more money than the car. It's millions of dollars for example, 001 or 002. These plates, you have to bid for them, and you have to buy them. So let's say you have a Rolls Royce that's worth $500,000, and then the other next door there's a guy that has a Rolls Royce, but now he has the plate that's worth $2 million, $3 million, $5 million. So then this guy has great financial success, but he still has unhappiness in his head, because he's like, fuck, I want to get that plate. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Because the problem is because he was drinking beer with his friends at the strip joint, looking at the hookers, and then he said, "You know what? Fuck it. I'm going to spend $5 million on this plate, $10 million on this car," and he's unhappy.
Yeah,
I agree with
you. And then you have that guy that has the plate, the car, and then he goes on Forbes list, and he's like, "Shit, man, I'm only worth $1 billion." There's a guy that was worth 80, 40, 20, 80. Like, what the like? So then, when are you happy? You live your entire life just like hope. So you have to make peace, guys watching this. Try to find peace in what you have right now, even if it's not a lot. There's pleasures in everything, and then everything else is bonus. I see that as everything is bonus. You know, when I was talking with Dan in the car about the apartment that we had, both of us in Phuket, it was a toilet, a bed, and that's it. But I was still happy because, you know, you're alive, you're healthy, you're happy. That's what's. But then the rest is extra. You know, like.
Makes a lot of sense. 2015, 2016, you and Dan Hooker were training for nothing. You were living in gyms. You had no money. You were looking for people to give you food and training equipment and gear. And 2021, you're the Lethway King. Everybody looks at Lethway. They look at you, Dan Hooker. He just fought for the #1 contender spot for UFC lightweight division. You guys are on top of the world. It was a pleasure doing this show with you. Thank you.
Pleasure, Chris. And man, really, this past weeks we had great guests, and I mean the entire so far. I'm loving what we're doing right now, and long live Bareknuckle Uncensored, man. I fucking love it. So
episode 4, the 4th episode. We'll start next week. You're going to be in Egypt, and we'll probably talk to you there. Maybe get some training videos and an update on your life and maybe your next fight. We'll talk to you next week.
Perfect. So guys, follow MMA Uncensored, Bareknuckle Uncensored. We have YouTube, Instagram. Let's stay tuned. If you guys want to see clips of the show, go on Instagram. There's 1-minute clips. And if you guys want to watch the entire episode while you're watching it right now, YouTube is the way. So yeah. Chris,
we got Facebook, we got Instagram, and we got YouTube, and that's it. We give you this product for free from us to you, because we're fight fans, and he's the king, and I'm Chris, and Bareknuckle Uncensored out.